The psalmist gives us symptoms of someone who is going through depression, and in this case, he is going through it. So we're going to look at what he is going through. Describe the symptoms that he is going through before we can look at the solutions that he has given. We see the first two symptoms in verse 3. Look at verse 3 with me. My tears have become my food day and night, while they say to me all day long, where is your God? The first sign of a dejected heart, a loathsome spirit, a depressed person is a lack of appetite. The burdens of life has filled the psalmist's heart so much that he is constantly in tears. Day and night he is weeping. Life has become overbearing. The aspirations that he has seemed to have fallen apart. And we go through times like this as well. Times where all joy is gone. Our hopes seem shattered. And we are in anguish and sorrow because life is so burdensome. The food that once tastes great has lost its flavor. The chicken tastes like sand and the juice tastes like vinegar. We don't desire to eat at all. How can we eat when hunger has become our comfort? But it's not only a lack of appetite. We see the second thing that the psalmist is experiencing is lies. Notice what he says here in verse 3. My tears have become my food, and day and night, while they say to me all day long, where is your God? Tears don't speak. Tears don't ask the question, where is your God? It is the psalmist himself who is asking himself this question, where is your God? Because the psalmist believes that God is distant from him. He is telling himself lies. He is telling himself, God is removed. God is far away. His thoughts have become pessimistic, and he tells himself all kinds of lies. We've got a sample of one of the lies that he told himself, that God is distant. But furthermore, there are other lies that we tell ourselves. When the pressures of life seem very hard, we say, why bother go on living anymore? We tell ourselves, there's nothing left. I might as well just give up. Why bother try? Or we may tell ourselves, I will just run away from everyone who knows me. Go and hide somewhere where no one knows me, and I can just stay in my sorrow. I can drown myself in my anguish, and I will die there. In fact, no one will care. No one will miss me. Have you told yourself these lies? The psalmist is listening to his pessimistic thoughts. And in that state of mind, death seems like a comfort. We lie to ourselves so much. We come to believe these depressing lies, and we become utterly cast down. The psalmist is in that place. And you may be in that place this morning. Or you have been in that place. or you may be in that place in the future. The lies the psalmist is telling himself, they are destructive. There is no time for him to consider the former days. The former days of joy are forgotten. And now he is in the land of the hopeless. He is experiencing a place of deep anguish and sorrow. And as he plunged deeper and deeper into despair, the lies keep haunting his mind, and he cannot shut them up. Additionally, the expression of a dispirited person is seen in his words when he says, "Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you in turmoil within me?" Discouragement and sadness is gripping him, and he expresses his discouragement and sadness with utter despair. And he speaks to himself and he says, "Why are you feeling so low? Why are you in turmoil? Turmoil has rendered you paralyzed. It doesn't feel like doing anything. You wake up in the morning and you do not want to get out of bed. What's the use of getting out of bed? I feel so low. When I attempt to do any work, I feel so weak. Tiredness have just gripped my body. Physically, I feel that I cannot work. I'm so tired. I can't do anything." So you lie back in bed and you want to sleep, but sleep has fled from your eyes. How can you sleep when your mind is troubled and all that you can think of are the problems that are haunting your mind, and sleep cannot come? The thoughts of your mind are in utter distress and it's keeping you up, and when you try to work you can't concentrate because your mind just keeps jumping from one thing to the next and jumping from one thing to the next. Concentration is all gone. Work cannot be accomplished. The psalmist goes on to say in verse 6, "My soul is cast down within me. I am utterly hopeless." Utterly hopeless. My wife, she worked as a youth counselor in Canada. She would counsel homeless youth. I remember one time she came home and she told me a counseling situation that she had. Young, bright, beautiful young lady in some African country was promised that if she comes to Canada, she will be able to get a job, a modeling job, and be offered a scholarship to go to university. Her family sacrificed to collect money, borrow money from everywhere to pay her plane ticket, and flew her to Canada. And when she arrived, she gone through immigration, and she met the person who promised her all of those things. And the man says, "Can I see your passport?" And she handed it to him, and that's the last she saw of him. He took the passport and fled. And she's left in the airport, utterly dejected. All she could do is weep. And the officials brought her to the shelter where my wife worked, and my wife started counseling her. There is utter hopelessness. She can't go back. She doesn't have a passport. She can't go forward. It's the first time in this country. Everything is foreign to her. It's utter despair. Sometimes we can feel like that. Utterly hopeless. I can't do anything. My life is in utter misery. There's no way forward. There is no way back. The psalmist goes further to express his distress in verse 9. I say to the Lord, I say to God, my rock, why have you forgotten me? Why do I go mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? Now we get to the reason why he's so dejected, the reason why he's so dispirited, the reason why he's so depressed. It's because of the enemy. He has enemies, or he has an enemy, and the enemy is the source of his distress. You see, we live in a cruel world. A world in which the innocent suffer and mischief is all around. There are people who will see you low, and in your distress they will come and trample you further. The first home that we lived in when we got to Canada is in Ibex Hill on Main Street. And my landlord, he lived in the same yard, and oftentimes I would see a teenage boy, and someone who I believe is his younger brother or sister, they would alternate, would come with him, and they would have a huge barrel, plastic barrel, and I would see them rolling it all the time. I wonder what they were doing. One day my landlord saw me looking at them, and he said, do you know what they're doing? I said, no. He says they are taking water home. And he said that he's trying to help them because the mom is in such an ordeal. Her husband died, which is a tremendous loss, and the family of the husband came to the house after he died and took everything, even the kitchen utensils. Everything was gone. She was dependent on his income to raising the children. She doesn't have a job. And yet still, in that situation, the family came and left her with absolutely nothing. Isn't that cruel? I can only imagine the state of depression this young lady was in. The psalmist is facing an enemy. And in addition to the work of the enemy, notice what the psalmist is also experiencing in verse 10. As with a deadly wound in my bones, my adversaries taunt me. They say to me all day long, where is your God? The action of the enemy is bad enough. But to make matters worse, there are people who are taunting him, making fun of him, ridiculing him, and saying to him, where is your God? Perhaps you have experienced a similar thing, or are experiencing it right now, where you're going through a time of hardship, and there are people who are mocking you, and they are saying things like, oh, where is the church that you go to every Sunday? I knew you were a fake. You're only pretending to be a Christian. If you were really a true Christian, this wouldn't be happening to you right now. See, these are destructive people, and they make the burdens